Today I want to talk to you about fear and projection, and where are you holding yourself back through fear and through projection for either your own fears or the projections of other people, because there's two sides to the coin where this topic is concerned. And you know how I see things from all angles and all perspectives, and I will always share from that space. And so it's a conversation that happens a lot with my clients, and again through my own experiences of this human life and human world. And it's definitely something that comes up so much in our client groups and one-to-one coaching spaces. And actually, it's a conversation I even have with friends and with family. And I think it's something we all feel, is the projection of others, and how by us honouring our needs and our desires and the things that we want and our dreams, is how is that going to affect other people, especially as people pleasers. We are so worried about upsetting other people, disappointing people, letting them down. We feel like it's selfish to go after what we want or do what we want, and most of the times we will put ourselves last on the list because we want to honour everyone else, and I love that so much. And I know that you are that person because you are here and you have a massive heart, and you're kind and you're caring and you're compassionate and you're loving and you want the best for people and you want to see them thrive, and you genuinely care because your heart is the size of the frigging universe. But sometimes it's to the detriment of yourself. And please hear my heart when I share this. I want you to still be the person who gives all of you, because it's who you are, and I never want you to change who you are or change anything about you, because those are your gifts and your superpowers, and it's beautiful. But I want you to take a moment, or I invite you, if this topic feels relevant to you, to take a moment to consider, where actually is this holding you back? You have something that you want to do. You have a desire, you have a dream on your heart, you have something that you want to go after. You want to even have a conversation. There's something that you want to do, and you're worried about other people, what they're going to think about you, how they're going to judge you. Are you going to be stepping on their toes? Are you treading on their turf? Are you feeling like, are you honouring what you want, you're taking away from them? Are people not going to want to know you anymore? Are they going to not want to talk to you? Are they going to talk about you? Sometimes that's our fears, and sometimes that's the reality of the shifts and changes that we go through in this world and on this growth journey. But the best thing that you can possibly do is to continue on this journey and to start. And let's start with our own fears, because most of the time we are our own worst enemy. We hold ourselves back, and it's not even about other people. It's our own thoughts and feelings and fears of, what does this actually look like on the other side of this, and what is actually going to change, and the stories and beliefs that we have dictating and running the show. You know, if you want to go for a promotion, does a voice say, but who are you to go for the promotion? What makes you worthy and deserving of that? What makes you worthy and deserving of even something as like treating yourself to a new outfit? Like, sometimes that could just be the dream. That could be the thing that, you know, as mums, we don't like to spend money on ourselves. We feel guilty. We feel bad. Where did the stories and beliefs come from? Are they your own? If you have a desire of wanting more money, does that make you greedy or selfish or bad? If you are ambitious and want to go for the promotion, as a woman, you know, who are you? Who does she think she is? What are people thinking? What are they going to say? Is everyone going to hate me? Like, most of the time, these fears are our own, and they're our own voices in our own heads. And they're not there for no reason. Either they're to serve a purpose because they are parts of us that want to be seen, want to be heard, and those conversations are had because they want to make sure that we're on the right track. We're not going to go and change our life and put ourselves in harm's way. Like the ego mind, like, no, don't go for the promotion. You've been in this job, you've been doing this for so long. We know it. It's comfortable. It's familiar. This is where we're going to stay. Don't go and get for a promotion because of this and this and this. And the fears will stop you going forwards because it wants you to stay in what's familiar. And we know creating change is going to bring up all our fears and doubts. And so it's just about checking in with yourself. Is the fear rational? Is it the truth? Is there any truth to the fear? Is it rational? Is it about having a conversation with this part of yourself, with this fear? Or is it someone else's fear that's projected onto you? Is it someone else's voice? And it can be a voice that came with love, from even a parent or a caregiver or an influencer in your life that told you, be modest, be humble, don't want too much. That's enough now, like have this, all but not too much. That's enough now, you're good. Don't be greedy. Don't be greedy, enough's enough, What is it? Becoming so curious. What is the fear, the story, the belief? Is it your own or is it true even? We so often are so hard on ourselves, but there is reason. There is reason why. So is it you getting in your own way? We are our own worst enemy and we stand in our own way. And fear is the core thing behind anything of us moving forward in wanting to go and do something. There'll always be an underlying fear if we're stuck, but we know there's a desire. So part of us is like this battle. Part of us is like, I want this, I want to go for it. Like your soul knows, you're excited, you're ready, feel inspired, but there's something holding you back. And it will 9 times out of 10, or actually 100% of the time, be a fear. But what is the fear? And let's just let it come up and be honest. What is the fear? And let it be anything and don't judge yourself. And you can feel like, oh, that's silly to care about that. But it's not silly enough to not stop you moving forward, right? So is it really silly? Because your fears are valid. They are valid. It's not about, oh, that's stupid to feel like that. So often as we're growing up, we have these fears and people say, oh, don't be silly. Oh, get over it. Oh, it's nothing major. But sometimes for our own life experiences, these fears are actually huge and they feel so rational, even if they are irrational. So it's about softening that fear, looking it in the eye, befriending it, giving it a little wink and saying, it's all right, we've got this, let's go. But also addressing it and validating your fear 100% of the time and not beating yourself up. If I could just do this, then it'll be fine, but I can't, because you can. Anything in this world is possible for you. Anything. You are a limitless being that can achieve and create anything that she wants. Anything is all available to you. But it's our fears that hold us back and keep us stuck. So what we want to start to do is just look those fears in the eye, and 9 times out of 10, just looking that fear in the eye and acknowledging it and validating it just allows it just to become that little bit smaller. That little bit smaller. And we hear the phrase so much, feel the fear and do it anyway. And I believe so much in that. Of course, like sometimes you just have to feel the fear and do it anyway. And there's something really empowering about that when you're like, right, let's go. Like fear is simply courage becoming known. Fear is simply excitement on pause. When you're like ready to go and you're like, and then you press the pause button, then you're stuck, then you press play, then you're free. Like you go and you move. So there's all the motions of moving through. And there's a lot to be said for that, and that's great. And you feel powerful afterwards, and I conquered it, and it feels so great, and I love that. But sometimes, how about if we just acknowledge the fear and know that it's okay to just acknowledge it and feel it and see it as paralyzing, but know that it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with us. We just have to have a different way of going around it. Just because, it's so easy to look at someone and think they're so brave, but not everybody starts brave. Nobody starts brave. Everybody has to start from somewhere. Shy, nervous, unconfident, being willing to fail, willing to fall, putting yourself out there can feel so scary. When I very first went live on Facebook, I remember my heart beating so loudly in my chest, walking around my house, fluffing my pillows, doing the washing up, tidying the toys, doing all the things, procrastinating, because I felt scared, and I thought, what's everyone going to think of me, and how they're going to judge me, and they're going to laugh at me, and they're going to disown me, and they're going to talk about me, and what's everyone going to think? But eventually, you just learn to find some comfort in that fear, and just acknowledge that fear is normal. It's part of our life, and that fear is there to keep us safe. And we never really want to lose the fear. People say just kill off the fear, get over it, go around it. But what about if we just took it with us? Because fear is what keeps us safe. It keeps us protected. It's there to keep us surviving. And when we can know that and learn to understand that and appreciate that fear is there to help the human race survive. It's a pretty huge responsibility. Do we ever want to lose that? No. So what we want to start to do is befriend those fears and become curious around the fear. What is it trying to tell us? And experience your humanness. That of course the fear is going to tell us, that fear feels so big, right? Sometimes you feel you literally shaking in your body, shaking in your boots, like you're having this whole somatic experience. Because fear is literally keeping you surviving. But the way we overcome that is by softening and loving on it and validating it and not saying, oh, I'm so stupid, or it's so easy for someone else, and oh, she's just so confident, she's naturally born with it. We are naturally born confident. We look at toddlers running around, they don't care. They're the most confident beings on the planet. We need to take more leaves out of their books. And we can take ourselves back to that space. But as time goes on, through society conditioning, projections, other people's stories, other people's fears start to creep in. Or be careful. Or don't do that. Stop doing that. That's not safe. Watch out. It's too much to do this. Don't, I was just sharing. Don't be too much. Don't want too much. This is bad. This desire is wrong. This is selfish. This is this. This is this. We start to lose that. And then our fears come up and they creep up and they're huge, because the fear can also tap on our tribal wounding and our sense of belonging and our enoughness. And our sense of belonging is a core basic human need. So if we go after something and we're scared that other people are going to judge us, disown us, disappoint, hurt, upset, it will stop us in our tracks. Because our sense of belonging feels as though it's being compromised. So your humanness says no. So there is nothing wrong with you. That's what I want you to know. That's the biggest thing I want you to take away from today, is that you're normal and you're human, and there's nothing wrong with you if you're having fear. There is nobody on this planet who doesn't have fear. Even Lady Gaga, sold billions and billions of records, puts out an album and fears, maybe people don't like this. They're not going to like it. What are they going to think of it? They're going to judge me. Am I going to be cancelled? My whole career is just going to die, But we lean in and we lean in and we lean in and we lean in. And eventually those fears start to soften and they start to know that it's okay. And then you start to feel safe in it. And then that's how your confidence grows. You take one small step and one small step and one small step. And then your brain starts to say, oh, it's okay. And it settles in and it softens. And we're acknowledging it. We're acknowledging ourselves, we're validating ourselves and our emotion. And then there are going to be those times where we go, just sod it, let's go, let's move. Ah! And there's so much greatness in that too, because also when you make those big, bold, brave moves and you survive, you're like, oh, I survived. This is great. And then you start accumulating evidence to make more big, bold, brave moves. And sometimes we just need to rip off the Band-Aid. But also, if you're just starting and at the beginning of the journey, that's when things can feel most fearful. Or we never create any kind of change in our life because the comfort zone is such a comfortable space to be in. But also when people just share, get out of the comfort zone, you know, that's the only way you grow. Sometimes we just need to be a bit softer with ourselves and know that it doesn't really matter how much time it takes us to move. But the fact is that eventually we do move. And sometimes we just need to understand our human makeup and how we're made up. And know that we're normal, and it doesn't mean one person is way more confident than you, so they get to have everything and you get to have nothing. And that's just something that I want you to know, because I think I never understood fear. I just used to think I was really unconfident and nervous, and that meant my makeup made me not be able to be someone who can go out and live this extraordinary life, because I just thought that's just how I am, and that's it. And I felt fear, and that fear was so intense that was like, I'm just never going to be able to do it. It's not meant for me. But when I understood that it was literally my brain, my survival brain, just trying to keep me safe, and that these stories, some of them weren't my own, and these beliefs, some of them weren't my own, and this inner critic and judgment and just how harsh I was on myself. And I just allowed myself to just work through those layers and just sit with myself and validate myself in all the ways and take the small, tiny steps, and then eventually became an accumulation, but it's a journey. So I just want you to know and understand that this may be something you've heard before, and it may be something that you know, but if you don't, you're a human having human experiences. And allow people to support you as well in the things that you want to do. Feel brave and courageous and confident enough to share your dreams and goals, and let people know and let people champion you and be your cheerleaders. And pay attention to the people that are your cheerleaders instead of the critics, which I'm going to move on to now with a whole lot of love around my next share. Lean into support, and even if it's just one person who is championing you and there's 10 people who are not, lean into the one, because that's the one, that's the voices, that's the conversation, and allow them to support you and love on you and help you stretch through and share and celebrate you on that other side. Because there's so much beauty and magic in celebration and honouring yourself. And again, what that allows you to do is tell yourself it's safe. It's safe to make change, and it's safe to lean in. And like, look what a badass you are. Woo! Yeah. And then you're feeding your mind with all the courage and love and support that you need to do it again and do it again and do it again. And there's so much love in that. We have our own worst enemy, but we also do have the reality. And let's just be real and honest about this. I was on a coaching call before, and one of the girls asked, how can I do this in a way that people aren't going to talk about me? How can I do this in a way where everyone's going to love me? How can I be liked? How can I make sure I do this in a way that, is going to be successful and I'm not going to be judged? And I felt this so strongly on my heart, because it was a question that I had too for myself. And the coach said, there isn't a way. You are going to be judged. You are going to be responded to differently. People are going to react to you differently. And a lot of things are going to shift and change. So let's just get that fear out of the way. Because we can't go through life avoiding. And if we know that this is going to happen anyway and we almost expect it, it's like, oh, okay, here it is. And can I just present the fact that this is nobody's fault? This is nobody's fault. Nobody's right or wrong. But humans, we're reactive. We're emotive creatures. And sometimes our growth is going to trigger people. And it's going to trigger people in a really great way. And it's going to trigger people in a not so great way, where they're going to project onto you. But I want you to know that it doesn't mean anything about you personally. It's never about you. It's never, please hear my heart and my words. People's projections and triggers, can't even speak today, are never about you. It's always about themselves. And sometimes your light is just going to be so bright that other people aren't going to like it. And that's not going to be everyone, but I just want to presence that is normal, and sometimes that does happen. And to keep moving anyway, because there are people who need your light, who need your love, who need your healing, who need your growth. Because when you continue to grow, you give other people permission to do the same. You give people permission to say, well, she's doing it. Well, maybe I can too. You show people what's possible. And there's so much beauty in that. You show people what's possible. You keep going and going and going. You get results. There is proof in the pudding that persistence always will win. It's a success law. You keep going on your journey despite everything that comes at you, and you gather the support along the way, and you lead into your cheerleaders, because there will be people cheerleading you too, and you lean into them. And you go and you move. You start gaining traction, you gain success, you gain results. Some people aren't going to be on board with that, but other people are. You will get people moving. And I know that, again, that your heart is so huge, that this journey you want for you, and you want it for everyone else too. You want everyone to feel the love, the light, the happiness, the joy. You want everyone to feel that. I know this. And that's why also this journey can feel harder when you're that kind of person. If you feel like people are upset with you, it makes you want to retract. And we don't want other people to feel that way. We're so sensitive, the projections hurt. But also we feel like we're hurting other people, because if people are uncomfortable, we're not here to do that. We're here to spread love. But also by us not moving, we're also enabling other people to simmer in their own stuff too. Whereas if we just keep moving and we show people what's possible, people will start to shift with you. They will naturally elevate with you. And that's your focus. And if some people fall off along the way, that's okay. And I know that comes with an element of grief and a sense of belonging and everything coming up to the surface, because we love so much. But what I also know to be true is if things fall away, new things come in. And there's magic. There is so much magic in that. The level of conversation, the upgrading in your life, the way you feel about yourself, the way you feel in other people's energy, everything elevates. You become a magnet for incredible things and opportunities, and gifts just kind of seem to come flooding, and you get other people who share in that. The more you go, the more that sheds, the more goodness that gets to come in. And also, you really do find your sense of belonging. Sometimes we have to lose our sense of belonging to find it, because sometimes we feel, I don't know where I belong, and I don't know if you was ever someone like me. Like, I had lots of friends. I was very popular. That was great. But I never had a set group. I was always trying to find myself here, there and everywhere. I've also experienced bullying. I've also experienced sister wounding. I've experienced phenomenal friendships. I've experienced all kinds of dynamics in different friends. But there wasn't really one place where I fully felt like I belonged. I was popular or I was bullied. I had lots of friends, but I had no one. And it shifted and it changed all the time. There was never really any consistency in my friendships as I grew up. But I do have some amazing friends that I've grown up with, that have been in my life my whole life, and we all know we all have them. Relationships is such a deep topic. It's a huge topic, and It's the heart and soul of our society and who we are. Relationships are everything. They're really what makes the world go round. And it's a really important topic to look at and to nurture and focus on. And as you move forward, those relationships are going to shift and change too. But the great thing is if you are someone who's had that experience of a sense of belonging, when you are on this journey and you become fully aligned with who you are, your true essence, and you're your true self, in your authentic self, and you start to walk just being who you are, fully owning and accepting that, you find the best tribe you could ever possibly imagine finding. That is so much gold. That is worth this whole journey in itself, is finding your tribe. Because if all of a sudden you realise I didn't belong, it's because I was trying to fit in spaces that weren't meant for me. It's because I was trying to find an identity of feeling accepted somewhere. I used to think I was an introvert, but actually I'm extroverted in the right places. Do you ever feel like that? You feel like you have social anxiety, but do you? Is it just because the energy is off in certain spaces that you just don't align with it? So it makes you feel anxious because it's conversations you don't really want to be having. But when you're with your bestie, or you're in a room full of like-minded people, or you have your group and you have your tribe, the energy just freaking hits different. And that is worth all the shedding and all the letting go and all the pain that comes with that. The people that are meant to stay on this journey with you, people come into our life for different reasons, a season, a reason, to learn from, lessons, blessings, gifts. We also need foes to come in because we learn. It's the hero's journey. You're going to meet so many different characters along your way. And it's just knowing this is part of your journey. This is part of your story. This is how you grow. Everyone is there for purpose. It's knowing when to let in and it's knowing when to let go. It's knowing when to embrace and it's knowing when to push back and being okay with that. And then you start to find relationships just seem to become more effortless, but they're still intentional. They're still intentional because we want to be intentional with our relationships. But they become so more fruitful, so much more nourishing, so much more soulful. Friends that you can just sit under the stars with and talk for hours about life. And why is this and why is that? And the science behind this and our curious minds just bubbling away. You're like, wow, this big old world's incredible. But the journey comes from the shifts and the changes, and you are going to trigger people along the way, but what you're really doing is activating people. When people are judging you, it's because they're secretly judging themselves. And if you were this journey is about being radically honest with who you are as well and yourself, and taking full accountability. I'm not perfect. Can I just express, I am not perfect. I'm still on my own journey. I've got so much to learn, so much growing, so much healing, so much. I'm not this perfect human, and I never plan to be. I never try to be anymore. Just flow with what feels good. But when we're judging others, if you were to really look at yourself, where am I judging myself in this? When we're triggered by someone else, why are we being triggered? What is that bringing out in us? When I'm triggered now, I know it's not about that person, just being that person going about their daily life. I'm like, oh, is it triggering something you meant needs to be healed, or a desire? If I see a strong, bold, confident woman walking through a room, radiant and glowing and just lush, that used to trigger me so much. And also I had a lot of healing to do around self-love and what it actually meant to love yourself. And if you were strong and confident, was that a good thing or a bad thing? I wasn't sure, because part of me felt like, I love that, I want that, but other people think that's bad. That makes me a bad person, maybe not. So can you see I have this push and pull back between my desire? And now, when I see that, I realise it's because I desire it. And I freaking love that. And that's the woman I want to go up and give a hug and be like, yeah. But I used to be shy to speak to strong women. I used to feel intimidated. I used to feel like I wasn't good enough to be in that company or that energy. And why would that person want to talk to me? And, I used to feel nervous and scared. Whereas now I'm like, that's the person I want to go and hug in a room. Let me be in that conversation. That person's so happy. I want what they're having. What are they on? They're high on life. You never know what someone's been through. This is so important. I have had a lot of people project on me, especially the past couple of years. It's been very open and honest and transparent and vulnerable. And I've had a lot of people put me down and a lot of people say things about this journey that I'm on and that I think I'm something so magnificent and wonderful and that I'm not. And that's been hurtful, and it caused me to retract for a really long time. It caused me to want to go in. It caused me to want to hide. It caused me a lot of deep emotional pain. And this was from some people that I cared about deeply, that I thought was going to be in my life forever, and that were actually going to be my most supportive peers. And they wasn't. And that's been one of the hardest journeys of my life. And it's something I've had to navigate and work through. And that's been a whole thing. But what I know to be true is, as I shared earlier, on that other side of it, what comes in is just so precious and it's so beautiful. I can't even begin to tell you the nourishing relationships that start to come into your world when other people move to the side, because you've just accepted and it's a journey. But on the other side of it is just love and a sisterhood. This is healing sisterhood wounding. You going forward and leading yourself despite your own fears, despite other people's projections, what they're saying, they're judging you, criticizing you, putting you down. You're activating people along the way. And we want to be activating. You want to be an activating person because that's how we create movement. That's how we unearth. You want to activate. You want to go along shining this light because it lights up the world. You want to turn a head because one person's head who you might turn can lighten something up in them. When they see how happy someone can be, that's possible to be that happy. Oh my goodness, wow, I didn't even know that existed. I've been in spaces before where I was so unhappy and I was surrounded by people who were unhappy too. And we were coping in ways that probably weren't serving our highest good. I didn't really know that this level of love, freedom, happiness and joy, and this isn't judgment for any people I've had in my life. I love everyone I've ever interacted with. I truly do, my family and everyone. But there were spaces and times that I didn't know that there was something outside of what I was feeling. And then I saw people who were just like, I'm like, who's that weirdo? What? You know, you see people so free, they're dancing, they're expressing, they're playing, they're in this world of like, what is going on? What is going down? But you become curious and all of a sudden it's like, there is something, you can feel something different than what you're feeling right now. Wow, okay. And even if all you do is you call someone to be curious in that moment, great. If you call someone forward that wants to become your best friend, great. If you will call someone forward who wants to work with you, great. And then someone comes along and they says, please, can you help me? I want this. I don't get it. I don't understand it, but I'm here for it because you've activated them. And that is what it's about. It's one person at a time and understanding that everything else is just part of it. Your own mind, our own mind is our biggest enemy. But we learn to love on that and nurture that and focus on that more than anyone outside of yourself. And sometimes those projections are simply just a reflection of your own fears. So take note of that too. Everything is a mirror around us, and our external world is reflecting back to us how we're feeling inside. When you are at peace inside, and you're not always going to be at peace. You know, I'm still human. I'm not always at peace. Most of the time I am. Now, honestly, holding my hands up I am, but I'm also a human. Sometimes I can lose my stuff too, you know, and things would be chaotic. And I recognize when that's happening, when everything just feels out of control, when just wild and it feels like there's turmoil. I check in and I say, how are you doing, Steph? What's up? What's going on? How are you feeling? Oh, okay, right, this all makes sense then. If I have a fear, most of the time that's going to be projected back to me a lot, because our biggest fears are always reflected back to us. But just knowing again that that's part of it, that's human, that's no, it's just a messenger. Everything's just a messenger, and it's just there to let you know. And you almost, if you have a fear and it feels like it's being reflected back to you, you confirm it is true, because you're like, well, it must be true because I'm seeing it everywhere. But perspective shift is that it's not necessarily the case. It's your fears being reflected back to you. And that's why it seems as though they're true. Because what I also know to be true is you shift that fear, you will not see that. You will see completely different. What we believe we see in our outside world. So imagine if you get to heal the hurt and create the beauty, what do you get to see outside? More beauty. What do you become available for? More beauty. What kind of relationships do you become open to and available to attracting? More beauty. More love, more light. Like is like is like. Law of attraction. Energy attracts energy, frequency. But I'm not going to go in on that right now. But it's just a universal law and a universal truth that is worth knowing. And so, to close up today, I want you to know that you are so loved and you are so supported. And I want this community to become a space where you feel that you belong, that you find your tribe in here, that you find your soul sisters, that you lean in, that you can share those fears, share those, post in the group if you wish. I have this fear, guys, and it feels so silly, but it feels so huge. What's your thoughts? And it's the same with everyone else. If you see someone post, love on them. Let them know that it's safe and that it's okay and they're human, and celebrate them in their humanness and be like, right, how can we support you? What can we do? What do you need? Let's get together and let's continue to lead ourselves and know that it's all part of it and feel the whole spectrum of emotions. Allow ourselves to feel everything and together, to do it together, and allow this to become the tribe. If you've never had somewhere where you felt like you belonged before, I want this to be your space. I love connection. I love bringing people together. Let's bring the weirds here. Let's bring the wonderfuls here. Let's bring all the happiness here. Let's create a movement where people go, oh, that's the weird tribe. Because they're so happy. There's going to be people who say that's the weird tribe, but there's going to be people who say, I want to be part of that. I don't really get it right now, but it looks fun, and it looks more fun than what I'm feeling right now with doing a place where they're not so happy. You moving activates other people to move. You continuing to love, despite what's coming your way, you'll teach other people to love despite what comes their way. The more each one of us can continue to keep moving. I took a lot of this journey on my own, because I was afraid to share what I was really thinking, afraid to share what I was really feeling. I would go home and cry when someone would make a comment that I thought I was too full of myself, because I'd launched this business and I just wanted to share love, light and happiness because I'd experienced this transformation, and I would just go in bed and cry. And I felt horrible, and I started questioning myself. Maybe there's truth in it. I didn't tell anyone. I felt embarrassed. But now I'm so open to talk about this stuff because it's something we all feel. And sisterhood wounding is massive, and I want to be part of the movement that changes that. I want to be part of the movement that heals your own wounding. And also, by us healing our own wounding, we get to react differently to, we feel less triggered. We project less. By us working on ourselves, imagine how many cheerleaders we can create. Imagine how many more healed souls go out into the world, you know, that can just see through the love of light, compassion, empathy, that might judge, but then go, oh, what is that in me? Let me get to know that person better, because you don't know their journey. You don't know what someone has gone through to put a freaking smile on their face and walk into a room. You can tell I'm passionate about this. It almost makes me want to choke up, because I've worked with women that have taken themselves from the depths to a beauty now that walks into a room, and I want everyone to champion that woman, because I'm like, if you knew her story, it's getting me choked up. If you knew her story, you would go and give her the biggest hug. And I see this transformation every day. Every day I see women that come to me that are in so much pain, the pain that I used to be in too. And I see them show up again and again and again, and we do this work and they take them and they're walking into rooms and they're radiating. And yeah, you know, everyone responds differently, but they find their people, they find their magic, they find the opportunities, they're thriving, they're loving, they're glowing, they're happy. And I want everyone to love on that person because I know their journey. You don't know everyone's journey. When we're walking around and we're projecting on people, you know, when you tell someone she's too much, if you're telling her she's too much, what you're basically telling her is that she needs to be less. And how does that make you feel? She needs to be less? What is that? Throw that comment back when someone tells you you're too much. Do I need to be less? Just curious. Is that what you're saying? You know, this is one of the biggest things we're going to hold ourselves through. But again, I just know, and I know this through my own experience, and I know through my clients, this work is undisputable and undeniable. When you see a sister walk in that room, give her a high five, man. Give her a hug. Just see her journey, see what she had to navigate to find herself where she is today. And when it's your own thoughts and feelings, check in on your own journey. Where have you been? What's led you to where you are today? What's got you thinking that? Is that your story? Is that someone else's? What do you truly believe? What do you truly believe about going out into this world and lighting it up? What does that really mean to you? And allow that courage to move you and drive you forwards. Sometimes our mission, if we can make our mission bigger than our fear, and we check in and we tap into why we're really doing this, we're doing it for ourselves. But I know you're here because you want to light up the world too. I know you are women who love to pay it forwards. You don't have to pay it forward. You don't have to do it to light up the world. You light up the world just by you doing it for you. And I'm all here for that too. But I know there's so many of you that are like, want to change lives. And I freaking love that. And let that become what fuels you. That helps our younger generation come through healed and not have to repair some of the things that we have to do today. And don't judge it. Let it be. But notice if you do and look at it with love. Oh, it's curious. Why am I thinking that? Why am I feeling that? Don't be hard on yourself if you find yourself judging or thinking certain thoughts or feelings. Oh, she's so happy. I want to be happy. You know, we get triggered too. But it's letting us know where we're at and our benchmark and what needs to be healed and what's the next thing. So let your mission become bigger than the fear. If that's what you need to anchor into to move past it, do that. Go for that promotion because you know that you can create a beautiful team in your office space. You want to become a heart-centered leader and you know that you can gift this team with so much of your magic that changes and turns the business around. You're making beautiful clothes. You are selling skincare. You are creating jewelry. You have a business selling services, consulting, accounting, whatever. Your business is an essence of you because you want to help people. And there's so many lives that you don't even know that you're going to touch yet. And they're waiting for you. And it's only you who can help them. So again, if you have a business or you want to start a business because it's meant for you, because there's people out there who need what only you can offer, only what you can give. So just remember that. There's people that need to see your light. There's people who are struggling. There's people that's in pain that need to see only your particular light, that are praying for a miracle. And that miracle is you. That miracle is you. We went there today, huh? I hope you've enjoyed this live. I hope you felt my heart. And I hope that you've taken something away from today to know that you are on the right path. Go and be the change that you wish to see in the world, because you are that. That is you. And your presence in this planet is more significant than you can ever possibly know. You really are magic, miracles, wonder and awe. And my wish for you is to really connect to that and feel that within. which in turn creates a beautiful world. You're part of that. All right. Sending so much love. Mwah.